Hey lovely viewers, and welcome to Get Well Stay Well on Revelation TV. As always, you're joined by me, Cyrus, and delighted to be joined by lovely Felicity. How you doing?
Hi there, I'm doing really well. We've got such an interesting program again today.
Excellent.
This time it's education on health. And all these films are coming out that are changing the face of medicine, really, because they're revealing the truth. And, you know, we've been stuck with orthodox drug therapies for so long.
Yes.
And all the truth is coming out. So it's so exciting, and you know, watching on Facebook all the time, and I'm posting a lot of stuff on Facebook, of course, and a little hashtag Revelation TV, yes. So
very good.
We're getting it all going.
Very good.
And you know, there's such a need for the information to get out there.
Well, let's talk a little bit about how media is influencing our education now as well, and how we're exposed to all of these pieces of information through media, through films that we're going to be talking about today, but also social media. It's a wonderful platform that you're using as well, isn't it?
Well, I've suddenly got thousands and thousands of friends all over the world who I've never met. But we're all on the same page, as we used to say, and literally they are on a page now. So tonight I've got consultations with America, consultation in France.
Wow.
This last week it was Australia, New Zealand. You know, it's quite amazing. Because apparently, if you Google pancreatic cancer, you Google Felicity Corbin-Wheeler, and there's 400 references to me.
Wow.
My son rang me the other day and said, "Mum, you're famous." So I said, "Wow, well, thank you, God, because at least we're getting the truth out."
Yes.
So it is amazing. And if people have got pancreatic cancer and always told, you know, there's no hope, and I'm able to say, yes, there is. There's always hope.
Wonderful.
Especially when we have Jesus in our life.
Absolutely.
There's always hope. And the great need is for oxygen, to alkalize the body as well. And, you know, cancer can't live in an oxygenated and alkalized environment. So people take simple things like bicarbonate of soda, which alkalizes the body. There's a Dr. Leonard Coldwell, you know, cured his mother. We're not actually featuring him today, but he's an amazing guy, because at 14, about to lose his beloved mother, the father had died. It was just him and his mum. And she's dying of cancer. And he was a very bright guy, 14. He got in touch with all the natural doctors he could and said, "Look, I can't pay you, but please would you help me, because I want to save my mother's life."
Right.
And she's now in her 90s.
Amazing.
And, you know, he became a doctor in his turn.
Yeah.
But amazing what natural things can do. And treatment at home, Si, which is so much nicer, so much safer. You know, there's no opportunistic infections from hospitals and things. So,
and it's time for us to take control of our own health as well, isn't it?
absolutely.
By doing it at home.
Because cancer is really caused by the wrong foods and the wrong, you know, the water with the fluoride and chemicals in it.
But tell me, Felicity, people might be saying, but how can I be doing it at home? Because we always do reiterate on our programs that it's so important to be working closely with your doctor. That is so important, especially when we're talking about health as well, isn't it?
With a naturopathic doctor, yes, with a doctor who knows what he's doing. It's not just drug-based and pushing out the prescriptions, which is what's happened the last 30 years, 40 years.
Is there a change now with the education that our doctors are receiving and what they're...
Not yet, as far as I know, not yet. I mean, we're going to be seeing that in this first clip.
Yes.
That they say they haven't had any training on nutrition. So really, what's happened is all these processed foods, these easy to prepare meals have come out, and the public have just gone for it because it's easy, it's convenient. Everyone's busy, and so we've started eating all the wrong oils, sugars, and salts. You know, the SOS thing we say.
Yes.
And people have really given themselves cancer. I did as well with, you know, cappuccinos. I was into coffee and working hard and drinking 5 cappuccinos a day to keep going, loaded with sugar. So no wonder I got cancer. But, you know, nobody had a clue about it.
It's an interesting one, because a lot of people say, I can't wake up, I can't have my morning without my cup of coffee, because it really does wake me up. Personally, I'm not a coffee drinker. It's a shower that wakes me up.
Right.
But a nice cool
healthy.
shower, that's what wakes me up. But people say I can't start my day unless I have my cup of coffee, but then they become so dependent on it.
Well, it's an assault to the adrenal system for a start, and it's very dehydrating. That's another great thing. You know, it's water. It's drinking loads of water, because we're all dehydrated. And especially as people get older, they lose that that need the sort of thirst. They don't feel thirsty anymore.
Right.
You know, children always saying, I want a drink of water.
Yes.
It's a great thing at night. I want a drink of water, just to keep mummy there or daddy. And, you know, as you get older, you lose that instinct that I need to drink. But in fact, we do need to drink at least an 8-ounce glass like that.
Interesting.
Every hour.
Now, we're going to be showing Ty Bollinger very shortly.
Yeah.
Ty Bollinger, if I recall rightly, I mean, we've been doing Get Well, Stay Well now for several years. And for me, we've recently been featuring a number of different films on Revelation TV or talking on Get Well, Stay Well about the health programs, health films that are available. And if I recall, Ty Bollinger was one of the first ones we saw who released the Truth About Cancer documentary. He kind of pioneered all the information coming out, didn't he?
He did, and that's only 3 years ago, you know, and I was in that original film with Ty.
Yes.
Because he travelled the world to get the right testimonies from doctors and cured patients. And so it's only 3 years ago, but the thing is, a lot of people are new to our programs, Si, and I thought it was important to get back to basics with them, that, you know, this is what I came on Revelation TV to do with the Get Well, Stay Well, to talk about cancer and how our precious viewers can avoid it.
Yes.
Because prevention is so much easier than cure.
Give a little background story on Ty. Tell us information about Ty Bollinger.
Well, Ty is a chartered accountant, Texan, big guy, Christian, and he and his wife lost both their parents to cancer, quite young, you know, sort of 50s, 60s. And was so traumatized, losing one after another, that Ty, like I did when Melanie died, you know, he started thinking, what's wrong with this treatment, you know, this chemo and radiation that they were all having. And he began to discover the truth, as I did, you know, through Philip Day and Dr. Francisco Contreras.
Yes.
And when he discovered the truth, he was as exercised as I was, that this could have saved my beautiful daughter,
Wow.
you know, who got it at 18 and died at 20. Horrendous. And completely, you know, decimated our family. So Ty did the same thing, and he got some backing, you know, financial backing to make a film about it, because there were quite a few people he'd been at university with in America who were doctors.
Right.
And they were discovering the same thing, that, you know, they were barking up the wrong tree, basically. They were trying to do the chemo and the radiation and drug treatment for things like arthritis that never worked. You've got to detox and restore the deficiency of the living enzymes.
Yes.
So good old Ty decided to take a year out, a sabbatical, give himself a sabbatical, where he would really do this in honor of his parents.
Wow.
So bless his heart.
Interesting.
Yeah, he had a terrific crew, and they went around the world.
Interesting. So let's have a look at this video now with Ty Bollinger talking about the truth about cancer.
1 in 2 men and 1 in 3 women that are alive today are going to face cancer. That's why we at The Truth About Cancer are so passionate about our mission to educate, expose, and eradicate cancer once and for all. In order for us to educate, we felt that it was vitally important that we obtain the most cutting-edge information about cancer preventions and treatments, and that's why we traveled across the globe, and we obtained interviews with over 100 new experts representing over 20 different countries. A big portion of educating people about the truth is exposing the lies, and that's why, specifically in this episode 1, we are going to be exposing the lies about the history of modern medicine and the history of cancer treatments. So after the next 9 days of educating you about the truth and exposing the lies, together we will be one step closer to eradicating cancer once and for all. But let me ask you a question. Can someone educate someone else about something that they know nothing about?
They gave us a whole hour on nutritionals. A whole hour in 4 years of medical school. And they told us there's vitamin A and B1 and B2 and C and D, and they're in alphabetical order, and you can look them up. And then they told us some really basic facts. We got a whole hour.
First of all, how much training did you receive on nutrition when you were in medical school? Because I know here in the States, it's almost none.
Yeah, not much.
Not much?
Not much.
Even in Argentina?
It's close to, yeah, very little.
Close to none?
Very little.
Because, you know, in medical school, they don't teach you anything about nutrition.
It's so vitally important for us to understand this history if we were going to answer that question, why is modern medicine so drug intensive? And it's not because patent petrochemical medicine is superior. It's because of monopoly medicine, which was created over 100 years ago. The word doctor actually means teacher, and so doctors should be educating their patients and teaching their patients, but unfortunately, the only thing that doctors are taught while they're in medical school is how to prescribe drugs.
We got hours and hours and hours on how to use basically patent medicines, which, as you know, are what usually goes on the prescription pad as a molecule that can be patented, which means it's not found in nature, because you can't patent it if it's not found in nature, if it's found in nature. And that's what we get educated in.
They don't get paid to educate people, they get paid to write prescriptions. And you know, you can imagine the drug lobby made sure that's the case.
The doctor is brainwashed when he gets out of medical school because the medical school has too much subsidization of the professors who are being paid by the drug company. So the professor never teaches any student in medical school, why don't you try vitamin C? They're going to tell them the latest drug.
And that's by design, specifically. You know, there about over a century ago, there's foundations, the Carnegie and the Rockefeller foundations, who sort of engineered the curriculum through their grants and donations.
Very, very interesting there, Ty Bollinger, and interviewing so many doctors there as well.
A wealth of really bright doctors there. And if people want to go on YouTube after this
Yes.
and look up The Truth About Cancer, they'll be able to see a lot about it there. And also the names of those doctors: Dr. Gary Gordon.
Okay.
There was Dr. Sani as well. He was actually at university with Ty, so they've, you know, friends for way back. And Jonathan Wright. So these are the doctors who are coming out and absolutely telling the truth and just changing the whole way that cancer is now treated. It's amazing because it's patient-driven, and the patients are learning there is a better way, and they're asking their doctors, and the doctors are saying, oh, you know, I haven't learned about this. And it's, this is shocking because we put our lives in the hands of these professionals, Si.
Because we didn't have any means of researching this information before, we would have to trust our doctor because, I mean, when we think before the internet, we'd have to go into the libraries and search through hundreds of books, not knowing, just to find a little paragraph of the information that you're looking for, whereas now you can do a simple search on the internet.
Did you see Dr. McCullough there? He's got probably the best-known newsletter.
Yes.
I've got a little newsletter that goes out every month, but Dr. McCullough has got millions on his list.
Right.
And he was one of the first ones who, you know, brought out the newsletter and really alerting people to all this. So it comes out on a regular basis. And he's also researched, and his girlfriend has researched the 95 holistic doctors who've been killed for coming out with the truth as well.
Right, yeah.
So he's a very powerful guy, Dr. Joseph McCullough, and absolutely into natural stuff. You know, he walks on the bare earth. He doesn't wear shoes when he's outside. He's on the bare earth, as we know, for earthing.
Yes.
He actually walks the walk as we do as well with Get Well, Stay Well.
Very good.
On the juices and everything.
We're going to be talking about a film very shortly called Game Changers. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, this is so interesting because there was a film called The Hunger Games. Have you heard of that?
Yes, I've heard of it, yeah.
Which is a sort of horrible thing about people fighting each other. Anyway, the ultimate fighter is a guy called James Lightning Wilkes.
Wow.
Who's a special forces trainer.
Wow.
And the fittest guy in the world. He was known as the ultimate fighter.
Interesting.
And he wrecked both his knees doing some kind of stunt, you know, for the film, I suppose. And he had to heal as quickly as he could because it's his livelihood to do this stuff. So he also decided to go, you know, completely plant-based and was amazed at the difference it made. So then he took part in this film, The Game Changers. And there are lots of films. There's Cowspiracy, which is the truth about cow's milk being so bad for us.
Yeah.
You know, you can turn cancer on and off with cow's milk when humans have it.
Yes.
Seaspiracy, which is about the truth about the pollution in the seas now. And a whole lot of other films. I mean, I've got a great list of them here. And if people are watching a film, you know, they want to watch a film, why not watch it?
Why not be educated at the same time? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So there's Eating You Alive, there's Eating Our Way to Extinction, there's The Invisible Vegan, Taking Note. Now that's funny. I thought, now what's that about? And it's musical notes. And it's musicians who also became plant-based.
Wow.
And very interesting.
And where do you watch all these films, Felicity?
Well, you just get them on the computer.
Excellent.
But you know, what a wonderful thing that they say $28 billion has been spent in the last 2 years on making these vegan films. So they're being hotly contended, of course, by the dairy industry and by the meat industry.
Wow.
You know, people like Al Gore, who has the biggest herd of cattle in the USA, I think, and they produce something like 38% of the methane gas from animals that is, you know, destroying wrecking our environment. So it's really interesting that these things are now coming out as an entertaining film.
Excellent. So let's have a look at this. Game Changers.
James, thanks for speaking with me today.
Oh yeah, thanks for having me.
So I saw The Game Changers, and it's just one of my very favorite films at the festival. Tell me about your entire journey from researching about going vegan and being sort of shocked about it, and then being angry about what you thought you knew.
Right, well I didn't go into it sort of, you know, with any preconceived notions or even looking into the vegan diet. I literally got injured, tore both of my knees, had 6 months where I thought, what can I do with my time? Started researching diet for optimal recovery and performance, and that's when I came across a study about the Roman gladiators. 68 skeletons that were analyzed, the only known burial site in the world, and I did a strontium calcium analysis and radioisotope analysis, and they could tell that they were eating almost exclusively plants, and that sort of blew my mind. Thought that can't be true. And so, you know, spent all of this time, about 1,000 hours in the first year, reading peer-reviewed science on nutrition. And that's when I sort of unearthed, we've really been led to believe this myth that we have to have meat in order to be healthy, in order to be strong, athletic, and other animal products as well. And it's just simply not true. And that sort of set me on this journey, basically. And then the more I uncovered about how we'd been marketed to and lied to by the industry, that's when I realized, you know, I just started getting quite angry about it, because not only is it affecting people's performance, but more importantly, it's affecting people's health. And the leading chronic diseases, heart disease, cancer, diabetes, largely are impacted by what we eat. So it's pretty aggravating.
Along with director Luisa Hoyos, you make some excellent points about how a plant-based diet can actually reverse some of these trends, like colon cancer, diabetes, type 2 diabetes.
Actually, it's been shown, in, you know, for heart disease, for example, a plant-based diet and controlled studies is the only clinical intervention that's been able to show reversal of heart disease.
And pretty quickly.
Yeah, very quickly. There's been changes within a week or two. Under angiogram, you can see arteries actually opening up, and that's never been shown with any drug or any other intervention. And then, you know, Dean Ornish went on to show the same with prostate cancer reversals, dropped in PSA levels, and they're now doing a study with Alzheimer's, and they believe they've got every reason to believe that that's going to reduce and prevent that as well. So pretty incredible.
I'm so interested to see those results when they come out. So talk to me a little bit about the second myth. I mean, the first myth of meat, I think, is that you need animal protein, or specifically you need meat to be strong. And then right behind that is you need milk for your bones. So both of those are completely false. But there's also this myth that if you eat a lot of meat, you're a really manly man. Tell me about that, and if that's false.
I think the real men eat meat myth is sort of a really core underlying myth underneath all of this. And, you know, 8 out of 10 vegetarians or vegans are female. Young men, especially 18 to 45 men, eat twice as much meat as women. And they're just less likely to switch, because it's really based on identity and this myth that we've been sold. And not only is it not necessary, but the very foods that men think are making them more masculine are the exact foods that are weakening and killing more men than anything else.
UFC fighter there. Wow, that's very, very interesting. The more foods that we think the men are eating that are making them more masculine, it's actually killing them.
Well, you see, meat eating is the greatest cause of prostate cancer in men, and also impotence, because it clogs arteries, and then arteries don't work, and so that leads on to impotence. So, in fact, you know, the sort of manly thing of having the steak is in fact a complete disaster, and they'd be much better, as this guy shows, and he is the, you know, the ultimate fighter. And
how important is that when we're talking about health, and you have these people like this who young people look up to and think, wow, look at him, he's performing, he's big, he's strong, he's tough, and he's talking about natural ways of staying healthy.
Well, that's the proof, you see. It's like me sitting on the set all these years after being told I was going to die of pancreatic cancer. I'm the living proof, and
Yes.
he's the living proof.
Yes.
So it's absolutely great that these films are coming out and they're entertaining. And, you know, I saw your eyes light up that you actually had heard of this guy before and had seen the film. So it is really great that these films are coming out.
Excellent. Are we starting to see, like we were talking earlier about the doctors, the way that doctors are becoming educated as well? Are they starting to become more educated towards the natural side of things?
Well, hopefully they are. And the next clip is Dr. Lorraine Day, as you know, who is an amazing orthopedic surgeon from San Francisco General Hospital.
Yes.
And she was 60 when she was suddenly diagnosed with really bad breast cancer, horrendous breast cancer that came out with a great tumor high on her chest up here. It came out about 4 inches, 5 inches, horrendous. And she got herself well. She turned to the Bible, she turned to God's diet in Genesis, and this was a long time ago. She's now 81.
Wow.
She's in amazing health. She's just got married again, actually.
Oh, wow, bless her.
And she was one of the ones who really inspired me to do what I'm doing, because there was no one in Britain doing what I'm doing. And she was lecturing all over America. And of course, she's a professor. She's a professor of orthopedics, you know, at top of her tree. And she was not a Christian, but she became a Christian as she healed.
Amazing. Let's have a look at this now. Dr. Lorraine Day. Lovely. This is what is interesting, because this is the lady that inspired Felicity. Let's have a look at this now.
Speaking with Dr. Lorraine Day, who is not only a doctor, was a cancer patient and has cured herself.
Correct.
So she has a lot to say. So I'm going to just throw the floor to you. You say that everyone can cure themselves, essentially.
Absolutely. The cure for cancer has been found. We don't need to donate for the cancer research. The cure for cancer has been found. It is always involved with the way we live, think, act, eat, and handle stress. We give cancer to ourselves. And I had one woman say to me one time, she said, well, I would never give cancer to myself. I have children. Well, I have children too, but we're all stupid, okay? Doctors are just as stupid as everybody else. And I gave myself cancer, not on purpose. I was ignorant. And as I have said in my talks over and over again, doctors know nothing about health, nothing. We're not taught anything about health. We're not taught much about disease either. Fortunately, that's why I became a trauma surgeon, because if you're shot, stabbed, or run over, you need someone like me to put you together. But the rest of the doctors give out drugs, or they cut out your organs or cut off your body parts. Well, I developed breast cancer in 1993, and I knew that I did not develop breast cancer because I had too many breasts. So cutting one or both of them off would not cure me. That's something Angelina Jolie has not learned yet, okay? So what we have to do is we have to change the factors that caused our cancer. Cancer is not genetic, except what we do to our own genes. We don't get it from our parents and grandparents. They may have had cancer, but we get cancer if we live, eat, and handle stress like our mothers and grandmothers did. We'll develop the same diseases.
Sure, mimicry is not a good idea.
Right, and all we have to do is change those factors and we can get well. And that's what I did. Now, I had a long, hard struggle. I kept getting worse for 2 years. I refused all chemotherapy. I refused all radiation because they cause cancer. Every doctor knows that. But you see, if we doctors treat a cancer patient with anything other than those things, we'll lose our license. So I put all of my information on my books and DVDs and CDs, which I'm allowed to do without losing my license, and teach people how to do it at home. At home is the best place to get well anyway. But you have to study. You see, people go to school for 9 months or a year to learn how to be a hairstylist or to learn how to be a barber. But somehow they think your health should be automatic, but it's not. We are destroying ourselves by the way we're eating, living, and handling stress. So you have to learn how not to do that. Once you learn how to do that, you can be well for the rest of your life. And I developed cancer, I said in 1993, this is 2017. I am totally well, cancer-free. I have been cancer-free for over 20 years. And not only that, I'm 80 years old.
That's amazing.
I'm 80 years old. I still play tennis. I still play basketball. I still run. My joints are fine. I have no arthritis. I take no medications. I have no diseases. I never get colds. I never get the flu. I'm totally well because of the way I live, think, act, eat, and handle stress. And I don't have a lot of wrinkles because, you see, What's the difference between a plum and a prune? It is water. Well, it's not just the lack of drinking water, it's the way you dehydrate your body by eating animal products, which contain no water and no fiber, by drinking caffeine, which takes more water out of your body than comes in with the drink, by drinking caffeinated soda, by drinking alcohol, and by having stress. Not learning how to handle your stress, because stress is very dehydrating to the body.
Dr. Lorraine Day, stress is very dehydrating to the body. Never knew that.
It sure is, and that's why we need to drink lots of water, Si, especially when we're doing these shows. But you see, the great thing is she's a medical doctor, she's a professor, and she can come out and say these things. And the doctors in the first clip that we showed as well are medical doctors coming out with it. And that's why on my little courses, you know, it's not what Felicity says, it's what the medical doctors say. So I do show these wonderful films and these amazing doctors who are coming out with the truth.
Let me ask you, Felicity, how do you do your research, and how would you advise some of our viewers watching today to say, Felicity, what you're talking about is so interesting, I want to go out and do my own research? Where is a good starting point for them?
The best thing is your computer or your smartphone, quite honestly, because it's all there now. And you know, we're giving people a few hints as to where to look for these things now. People can email me, Felicity Corbin-Wheeler at Gmail. I'll always help people and direct them in the right path. If people want one-to-one consultations, because some people do, and although my website's very informative, they still want to talk to me, so that's fine, we can do that as well. But it's getting the education out there, and I believe that's what God has strengthened me, you know, to do what I'm doing, to actually spread this word, as Dr. Lorraine Day has done. So it's very, very exciting, and the media is changing everything, isn't it?
It sure is, and that's the wonderful thing. It's like you said, Felicity, it's on our smartphone, so it's not even that we have to wait till we go home. We can simply take the smarphone out of our pocket or a handbag and do the research there and then, watch the videos, see the information.
I do suggest that people watch Dr. Lorraine Day. She's amazing, and she's made lots of videos, you know, because it was back in the day, videos and CDs, you know, when I first heard about it in 2003, and I just got her videos. And there's one lovely one, You Can't Improve on God.
Wow.
Which is a great testimony to the healing that we get, all from the Bible.
Fantastic. Felicity, thank you so much indeed.
It's been a great show.
Thank you also to our lovely viewers for joining us today. And do remember, it's true what Felicity said. Everything is possible through Jesus Christ, and we're on Christian television. We have our faith. No matter what you're going through in life, just put your problems onto Him and trust in Him. It's important that we work closely with our doctors, but also do your own research. Hope today's program has been interesting. We have a catch-up service, revelationtv.com. Also check us out on all the social medias. Take care, God bless, till next time, bye-bye.